At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 350 plus programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Pet Life Radio. This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hi, welcome to Canine Master Radio on Pet Life Radio. I'm your co-host, Chris Onthank, and I'm here with Jaimee Kelsey, the Director of Training at Doggone Smart in Norwalk, Connecticut.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Jaimee. So what is it that you would like to talk about today? I'd love to jump into a question. It is that summer season.
Yes.
So tell me.
Sure. So I field calls every day on the phone with clients, and we are heading into the summer season. And what everyone wants help with is, how do I get my dog to behave predictably and positively at all the summer gatherings? I've been to so many graduation parties, and there's pool parties, and people want their pets to be a part of this, but it's just such a gamble. They don't know how their dog's going to behave. They want to make sure that everyone's safe. And so they want to set up their dog to be able to be included in these events. And so that's what we've been out in the field coaching families to do.
Yeah. So, so many times we see dogs get when they're meeting new people, and a lot of times it's the inexperienced younger dog. And what he does is he gets really excited. They start jumping. They start getting hyperactive.
Barking,
and people. I was recently at a christening, and I was actually the godfather. I'm sitting in line. Behind me, I see the dog, and I watched the whole thing. We have the minister there. He's standing in front of me, and I look behind me. I look behind the minister, and there's a dog that has jumped up onto the table with all the food, and he's on the table eating the food. Now that's a little bit different, but how do we manage our inexperienced, untrained dogs, and how should we introduce them to these kind of situations where we can manage them, where we can work with them and train with them in these situations?
Yeah, I think, recognizing that our dog's joining us for every event isn't a right. It's a privilege that needs to be earned. And there's a lot we can do preventatively, proactively to teach our dogs that they are not the greeter in chief, that they are not always greeting everyone at the door, always responsible for saying hi to everyone, because then you put them in these highly stimulating environments and they think they've got to say hi to everyone and that it's their job. And so to teach them to be calm and practice and get them ready for these summer festivities.
Okay, so I think we should talk about greetings and where are greetings done. So greetings are done when a newcomer comes to the house, or a person comes up to your dog when he's on a leash. So let's talk about how we might teach a calm greeting. So anytime you teach a new behavior, you want to control the variables. So we are not going to teach this at the 4th of July party. We are going to teach this well before the dog comes to the 4th of July party. We are not going to teach this when I'm having Memorial Day picnic at my house and everybody's coming. We're going to teach this. We're going to set up the situation before we start trying it and seeing how the dog's doing or put into the situation. All right. So we have two ways of teaching this. One is more effective than the other. And it's something that can be imprinted from the very beginning. Some trainers would say, put your dog into a sit, tell him to stay, get a good sit stay, and teach them to stay behind you or to sit in a spot when the doorbell rings. Okay, that's fine. That's going to take some time. You're going to have to really work on your obedience, and this is not going to work as effectively as an instinctual response that is already innate in your dog, and your dog knows how to do this. Okay, let me explain. There are certain instincts that your dog has that actually help protect the dog, that they have when they are young. Years ago, I'll give you an example. Years ago, I had a litter of Doberman puppies, and this woman came to my house and said, would you mind if I came and saw the puppies? So she came around to the back of the house, And as she was walking into the area where my dog was, my Doberman, it was Tippy at the time. And Tippy had, I think, 7 puppies. And as this woman walked into the fenced-in area, Tippy ran up to greet her, being the leader of her little puppies. But there was one little puppy that wasn't going to let her mother tell her what to do. And so she started to try to pass Tippy and run up to the stranger. And Tippy gave the puppy named Leather a very hard correction to get behind her. And then she stayed behind. So what was interesting to see is that the leader greets strangers to the territory first. And once the leader is really clear that there's no danger, then the leader will let the underlings meet the stranger to the pack. So, it's interesting. I have seen so many times when if we keep the dog behind us when we are greeting strangers at our door, and we use this instinct of the leader goes first, greets strangers to the territory first, and determines whether the stranger to the territory is friendly or foe, right? How do we start to fix this? We start to fix this by using body pressure and a guttural tone, and even our feet to shove the dog back where you're not kicking anybody. So I may put down a piece of blue painter's tape, make a little square at the natural thresholds to my foyer, and I have a friend ring the doorbell. They ring the doorbell, and I go to the door. And as I go to the door, if my puppy goes to race to the door in front of me, which if the puppy's like 9, 10 weeks old, that's not going to happen, by the way. But then you open the door, and if the dog races, you turn around, put forward body pressure, give a little guttural tone, and you shove the dog back behind the blue painter's tape line that you've put on the floor. It's sort of like a little box that's put on the floor. And if the dog gets out of that position, you might go, some forward body pressure, which is more of a dominant stance, and you shove the dog back again. It is a rare puppy that is going to keep on trying to challenge you. They're going to say, I'm going to stay back. Then you let your friend in to the foyer, which is inside that square, and you keep on doing that till the dog stays back. Once the dog is calm, then he can greet the stranger. Okay.
Chris, I want to just jump in here and say that this process, if you don't have time to do this all the time, one of the main things that you need to do is tell your guests to ignore your dog when they come in, because it builds the anticipation and association that every time that door opens, guests come in and they go, oh, what a cute puppy, or oh, and say hi to the dog. And so the puppy learns when that door opens, I'm on duty. And so try to say, ignore my dog, have a calm 5 minutes, and then you can properly and positively introduce the dog to say hello. But take away that association of door open, dog gets attention.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important. I mean, that's actually a great sort of first step. But I do think that the instinctual part is really important to start. You can start that with a young puppy. And then, of course, sort of coaching the people. Oh, no, I don't mind. No, it's not. No, I'm sorry. We do mind. We're trying to make our dog have calm greetings at the door and not overexcited. If the dog jumps up on you when you come through the door, what I tell people to do is not to go off, no, stop, and they're pushing the dog away. That actually becomes the new type of greeting. What I would tell is you also ignore the dog when you first come home. And I would ignore them for 3 to 5 minutes. And then when the dog has all 4 paws on the ground, kneel down and give them attention. But don't give them attention until they are calm. And that goes for your guests as well. Great technique. How about the dog that races to the door and gets so excited, greets the stranger, and piddles all over the floor in a submissive urination? And that is because they're feeling this responsibility to greet. And as the person bends over them, they put body pressure, which can be a bit dominant or threatening. And then they urinate all over the floor saying, oh, I'm no threat. So again, how do we fix that? By ignoring the dog, by teaching the dog to stay behind that blue painter's tape. And after a while, you just remove portions of the blue painter's tape till you don't have it anymore. And they always know to stay back when somebody comes to the door. We have a great technique that we teach to our clients. It's called the back command. And it's a whole sequence of techniques that we use to teach the dog to stay away from the door. It also can help dogs tend to be aggressive when people come in, and gets that whole greeting process taken away. So I think that's really a great start to this. Jaimee, I think we better take a small break and hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
You know the expression, cats have 9 lives. Well, what if you can give them one more? The Give Them 10 movement is on a mission to help give cats an extra life. How? With spay and neuter. Spaying or neutering your cat helps them live a longer, healthier life. And it helps control free-roaming cat populations too. Learn more about the benefits of spay and neuter and meet Scooter, the neutered cat, at GiveThem10.org. That's GiveThem10.org.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
All right, welcome back to Canine Master on Pet Life Radio. I'm here with Jaimee Kelsey, the Director of Training at Doggone Smart. Hi, Jaimee.
Hi.
Okay, so let's talk about the next step. So we did touch here on greetings at the door and the use of body pressure, the use of ignoring the dog, not having a big greetings when we come. But what about we're having our 4th of July party? And
Right.
At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 350 plus programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
And everyone wants their dog to be part of the party. They say, oh, I feel guilty if they can't be part of it. And so it's really not about guilt. You want to do what's best for the dog and make sure that they feel safe and comfortable joining that party. And Chris will walk us through how to prep for that.
yeah, so many times people have a party and they want their dog to meet everybody because it's a new dog or whatever the situation may be. But the dog does not have the manners to really fully participate off leash and be part of the whole party. So we actually want to, and I love this phrase that Jaimee says, we want to set them up for success. And the way we do that is to manage them correctly. So if you are the hostess or the host of the party, it may not be the best time to let your dog be free or even to train your dog in this situation. But if you or your partner can say, hey, listen, I'm going to work with Chuckles in the party. I'm going to introduce him to many different people in the party, and I'm going to see if we can't work with him. And while you sort of take care of the host, I'm going to take about 10 minutes now. I'm going to take Chuckles out of his crate or out of the room that he's in. I'm going to bring him into the party on a leash. And that's critical. You're not letting him free. You are controlling your dog. You are coming into the party. You are getting them on a leash, and you're walking into the party while you can really concentrate for 15 minutes of calmness. So what I would do is, we're going to walk into this party. My dog's on a leash. If you've followed our other shows about teaching your dog to walk behind you on a leash, that's the best way to enter the room or enter the yard with all your friends. I would have them on a leash. And when they are calm, let people kneel down to greet your puppy. If your dog goes to jump up or gets hyper, you stop. You wait. You wait till they're calm and then let people approach. So you have to feel comfortable enough to actually coach your guests on how you want your dog to interact. So you could say something like, hey, listen, you guys, this is Chuckles' first time. He is greeting strangers. We're kind of training him here. Would somebody be able to help me? Let's try the first person, not 10 kids coming at the puppy all at once. That would be a disaster. So we want to set the dog up for success. We want to control the variables, and we want to control what we call the things that might trigger him to become overly excited. We're going to get people to kneel down. They'll say hello to the dog, pet the dog, nice greeting, maybe give a treat. This is great. You may even have the guests teach the dogs to sit. So, give them a treat, tell the dog to sit. They could participate in a calmness around the dog. And then I would go to the next person and go to the next person. And if the dog starts to get overwhelmed, I would separate, maybe walk away from the crowd for a little bit, and then try to re-enter this group of people again when the dog is calm. So if the dog starts getting hyper, don't let it perpetuate and keep on going. You actually would pull the dog away from that trigger, get the dog listening to you and calm, and then try to get a little closer to where we have calmness. And then maybe have one person come over and then maybe a second person. If you have guests that are hyperactive, oh my God, sweet, really high-pitched voices, creating excitement in the dog, this is actually the wrong person to have your dog meet, especially in the very beginning. We want our dog to be calm around new situations.
That's a great to make time to practice too. So have a few friends over and practice for the bigger events so that you're not doing it when you're distracted at a big party. Your dog has some memory of these behaviors and these environments, and you can draw from that.
Yeah, I think that's a really great thing. And then, of course, when there's food around, I told you about the situation where I was at the christening. I'm the godfather, and there's this dog chewing up all the food. And it's sort of food around puppies. If they're on leash, that's great. If your dog knows to stay away from food, that's great. But if the dog has no manners when it comes to treats and chips on a coffee table, this is not the right situation to train your dog. Okay.
The other scenario I hear a lot, whether it's at Thanksgiving or holiday parties, is that there is tension under a table, kids running around, dropped food, and a dog, like you said, cornered response. In that setting, it can be very problematic.
Yeah. So, I think always in the very beginning, until I really understand my puppy and not to overwhelm them, short times of training. So if I have a 2-hour party, I might bring in my dog twice or 3 times for 10 minutes and then put them away so that they're not overwhelmed. I can manage them, and I'm not putting them into situations where they get fearful or scared. And again, you need to know your dog's temperament. If I have a dog that tends to get scared of new people and worried, then we have another issue. We got to actually work first on building confidence. And then if I have a fearful dog, this is not the place to bring your dog in. We would work on building their confidence outside of a party. So again, you need to know your dog. If your dog is really friendly to everybody and seems very confident, then this might be the right situation. But if I have a dog that tends to be nervous of new people, or I newly adopted him, or he's only 8 weeks old and I just brought the puppy home, I would really limit the amount of people that I expose my puppy to, because this puppy is under imprint. Imprint is where I'm getting my first experiences that last with me forever. And that usually is between 5 to 16 weeks. We see imprint time on puppies. You want to have short, successful, happy, wonderful experiences. That's really important. Another thing is when you have guests that are consuming alcohol or whatever they may be consuming, you need to be careful, because people then become unpredictable. And you need to make sure that you're watching out for your puppy or your new dog like you would look after your toddler. Remember, the mother is not there of the puppy. She's not there anymore. You're now the mother. You need to protect your puppy. So really exposing them to safe situations where they feel as though it's a safe situation and you're under control is really important.
Yeah, I tell clients that you don't want your dog thinking that they're the security detail or that they've got to do the background check. You want them knowing that you're okay with what's going on. You've deemed it safe and they can trust you, and all they need to do is relax and follow along. One thing we see a lot, especially in the summertime, talk about security detail, is all the splashing and running in the pool parties. And so how can we get our dogs set up for success in those situations?
So let's talk about that. There are some dogs Like I have seen many situations, and as you guys may know, at Dog on Smart, we have a pool. And so we teach dogs how to swim. Not all dogs know how to swim. So the first thing is, if you're doing splashing and people are in the pool and you are at a pool party and you have your dog there and it's your pool or another dog's, I hope your dog knows how to swim. Not all dogs know how to swim. So doing a swim, getting in the water, teaching your dog how to swim and where to find the exit, the stairs to get out of the pool if they fall in is a really important thing. And that's something we do at Dog on Smart all the time is we give swim lessons. But for those people that have the kids splashing and running into the pool, many times we see dogs that feel that they're in charge. They will actually start circling the pool and they will start barking at the chaos inside the pool. This is a very, very common scenario. And if we have a dog that's doing this, it can be extremely dangerous. We have had dogs that have actually jumped into the pool on top of the swimmers and injured necks, scratched the people, trying to control the chaos. So if you have a dog that when people go into the pool is running around the outside edges and barking, this is something that you may want to find a professional to help you fix. I can't tell you how dangerous that becomes. In that case, if I have a dog that's doing that, generally pools are fenced in. I would take the dog out of that area until we get that solved.
Yeah, it seems like the dog's wanting to control the chaos that's going on, the unpredictable, the splashing, the noises. And so the dog is feeling they want to control that. And that's what leads to that circling and that barking. And it can be incessant.
Yeah. So I would actually seek out professional advice and management. Management is your key at that point. It's something that we do, but we actually have to get involved in the dog's drives and instincts to figure out how to fix that and understand why the dog is doing that.
What I tell people is that the greatest gift we can give you as trainers is the gift of predictability. So I may say, Chuckles isn't going to the block party. That's not happening. So let's, but if we work on X, Y, and Z, we can get him to smaller gatherings or to this. So predictability, knowing where your dog can be managed well and where it's going to be too challenging and too distracting. So you're better off not bringing them.
I think that's great. All right, Jaimee, I think we should be taking a break right now.
Okay.
Let's hear from our sponsors and we'll be right back.
Begging to hear more of your favorite show? Full episodes of all our shows are available on demand. Go to PetLifeRadio.com to fetch our entire lineup of Possum Pet podcasts. Also, dig us up in iHeartRadio and iTunes. Let's talk pets. Live and on demand only from Pet Life Radio.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back. It's Chris Humphrey from Canine Master Radio, and I'm here with my co-host, Jaimee Kelsey.
Hi, I was thinking maybe to end the show, since we're talking about summer gatherings, you can talk a little bit. It's been so hot here on the East Coast. Maybe some safety tips with this heat for our pets.
Yeah, so it's 105 degrees outside. So it's crazy. And this is not a time for animals to be outside. I even, as many of you know, I have a farm. And today my horses are inside. And I even brought in my livestock dog because he has that thick hair. And he's sitting inside our kitchen. And he normally stays outside with the animals. It's extremely hot. So what do we do in the summertime when my dog is getting overheated and it's hot outside? Well, the first thing is if it's over 85 degrees and I'm at a party, I'm going to be really careful about what activities my dog does outside. I'm not going to be throwing a ball for them. I'm not going to be having them play with other dogs. This is too much and dogs can quickly overheat. We're not here talking about having dogs in cars. As we know, that is just a disaster. That's another whole segment. But I'm going to talk to you about, I'm going to a party, I'm bringing my dog with me, and it's 85 degrees plus outside, 80 degrees plus. You got to watch your dog. So limit the amount of activity that the dog's having. In cases of summertime, many times it's just best to keep the dog home in the air conditioning and not bringing him to the environment. But if I am outside and let's say I'm on blacktop or I'm on pavement, what do? Well, if I take the back of my hand and put it on to the pavement, so not your callous side, but on the back side, and I can't hold that on this blacktop for more than 4 seconds, it's way too hot for my dog to be walking around. It's burning his feet. So that's really important. If I find that my dog is panting, throwing up, looks distressed, what do? Well, I better cool down my dog quick. I better get some cool water, put some cold towels, wet towels on his underside of his belly, get his feet cool, maybe put his feet in cooler water, not ice cold. We don't want to shock the system, but just what we call tip it or cool. Really trying to put some wet towels around him, cool towels to lower his body temperature and get him inside.
Some clients even put little baby pools if they're going to be outside in the yard for a little bit, so they have quick access to that and they can get their paws wet.
Yeah, and that's fine as long as it's not too deep. I've seen you
Right,
gotta
no,
make sure just a shallow little thing of water.
Very shallow. Yep.
Is great. But I do want to just say, and I want to end the show, summertime's a great time. Just make sure you're managing your dogs. Make sure that you do your training beforehand so that it's not a stressful situation at your party. Make sure that your dog is understanding how to greet people. Make sure that your dog understands and is good with people and is of the right temperament to introduce people at your party, and watch your guests and have fun. But again, small little training sessions in the very beginning is the best technique, and keeping your dog cool as well.
It takes time, but you'll get there with practice.
Yeah. Well, okay. I think that's it for today, Jaimee. This was a really fun segment. I hope you guys found the show to be interesting. We'd love to hear your comments. And if you'd like to, you can even join our conversation. You can always email us at chris@caninemaster.com or reach out to Jaimee for any training lessons or questions at Jaimee, Jaimee @doggonesmart.com. We may even have you come onto our show if we find that your situation is so unique. We always like to hear what's going on. You can also go to caninemaster.com. That's CANINE master.com. You can click on Ask Canine Master a question, and you can leave your questions for us there, and we'll do our best to get back to you. So send us your videos always and your photos. We'd love to see what's going on. And I guess, Jaimee, this is it. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Yep, we'll see you next time on Canine Master on Pet Life Radio, where we will continue to help you master the relationship with your dog.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.